cringy is Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's trailer for their upcoming Netflix documentary? Hello everyone, welcome to Royal News Network. My name is Brittany, and today we're going to be talking about just the utter cringe and trashy aspect of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's trailer for their upcoming documentary, and how it is conveniently timed not only to take advantage of a race row within the palace, but to also try and outshine and steal the spotlight from Prince William and Princess Catherine's tour of Boston. I am actually here in Boston following them around and doing some coverage, and so if you guys want to check out my Instagram and Twitter, I update more on there, so go ahead and check those out. I'll put the links to those down below. But it's just been so sad, pathetic, cringy, vengeful, spiteful, just to see Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, this trailer drop right now. Now, I will say, and I will go into this more in my video, that I think perhaps maybe this wasn't entirely their decision. I would say that's more perhaps on Harry's part rather than Meghan's. But it just highlights the chasm between the two, and how if Prince Harry ever had any inkling that he wanted to perhaps one day rejoin his family, I can tell you right now, Harry, that dream has died. That dream has died. It's never ever coming back to you, because this trailer shows the worst that we thought Prince Harry and Meghan Markle would do. It's invasive, it's a tell-all, and it's about, again, them telling their truth. But my question is, how much other truth have we heard already? And unfortunately, they don't have the best track record when it comes to telling the truth. So what truth are we going to get this time? That is the true question of this documentary. But if you guys haven't been here before, like I said, my name is Brittany and I love royal, so I provide compelling commentary and analysis on the latest royal news and a bit of gossip too. I will be also reviewing television shows, movies, and sharing history as well. I also have a fashion channel called Royal Fashion News if you want to check that out too. And this week, like I said, I'm in Boston. So I went to the launching of the Earthshot Prize yesterday, which was very rainy, very wet. It poured. But I got some pretty good pictures, I think. I'm not a professional photographer. I have a pretty nice camera, but I don't know how to use it the most effectively. So hey, it doesn't probably work as well as it should. And in addition to that, I got some video. But today I also went to both of Catherine and William's engagements, and I got my best picture of the day as they were driving by. And so this picture of Catherine, oh my gosh, and William in the background, oh, perfection. I was so excited and happy to get that picture. In addition, they went to a charity called Roca in the Chelsea area of Boston, and so I followed them there. Unfortunately, I was really late because my Uber could not find me because of street closures, and apparently they don't know how to go around a block. Who'd have thunk it? But I finally got there, but I wasn't close enough to shake their hands at all when they did a walkabout. However, I got some pretty good video coverage of it. So if you guys haven't checked out that full video, go ahead and do that too. And I will insert a little bit of footage here as well. And this is fun. You get to hear Catherine's voice. So I was so excited to get this. I had always really wanted to do this. Has always been part of the grander plan of Royal News Network, is to go and cover royal events. Obviously, I don't have press credentials yet. Hopefully that is something that will happen sometime down the line so I can get you guys even better coverage. But right now, this is what I'm able to get. I will be going to Harvard tomorrow to hopefully see Catherine at her engagement. I don't know exactly where it is, but I'll find the police barricades. The police will let me know where it is. Yes, they will. And I will be going to the Earthshot Prize tomorrow as well. So hoping to see the two of them, hoping to stay warm. It was unbelievably cold today after a while. It's like, you know, the beginning it was kind of okay, but after a while the cold really started to set in, which made it hard because your fingers are cold. You're trying to hold a camera, you're trying to get other cameras. Like, I have multiple cameras going like at all times, guys. So it's pretty awesome. But back to Harry and Meghan and this just utterly cringe trailer. I just watched this trailer and I just recoil a bit because I just see them and I just see part of the act, and there's just several key things that I'm like, ooh, this is not gonna go well. And I feel like the Monarchy really, I think Dan Wooten had a great piece on the Daily Mail just saying, Charles, we all know that you love Harry, and I'm not saying you shouldn't love him. We all understand that you want to give him a road back because we all know where this is heading. We all know this is going to implode at some point. But enough is enough. the titles have to go. And because Harry and Meghan aren't going to stop, especially Meghan, she can't stop. She is so obsessed with herself. But you get this sense that everything is geared towards Meghan. She's the focus of most of the pictures. She is the face front and center. She is the one grabbing the most attention in most of the pictures. And you can see this as well, as that this is very much is going to focus on how terrible this life was in the monarchy. It was horrible. It was awful. Woe is me. I was a princess who got to live in a palace, and it wasn't good enough because I couldn't be queen, which she never could be, because it's just, again, not how monarchies work. Monarchies are all hierarchy. I don't care who you are. I don't care who you think you are. Monarchies, there's ranks. And if there's no ranks, then the whole system will break down. It has to exist within the bounds of the hierarchy. So you obviously see that Meghan very much is a focus, because they talk and they do these series of pictures, and then they focus on Meghan, and she's at the Remembrance Day ceremony. She has a solemn expression on, and then they move over to this one where you can just tell, especially Catherine's looking very severely at the camera, and Meghan is looking a bit demure in the background. They're at the Commonwealth service. This is not in 2020, right before the lockdowns. This was in 2019, when things were still kind of sort of okay, but things were going south very quickly. And so you can definitely tell that, again, that there is very much this focus on Meghan's experience, Meghan's supposed trauma in the situation, because again, she was a princess living in a castle, but she could not be queen. That was her issue. So it's just this whole thing where I feel like, again, Meghan's grievances take precedence, and Harry's just following hook, line, and sinker, because he says in this video, I had to do whatever I could to protect my family. So go ahead and take a listen here.
I had to do everything I could to protect my family.
All right. So when he says that, he said that so many times. But what is he protecting his family from? And how have his actions affected his family, his royal family? Because here's the thing, I don't feel like Harry says those words, but I don't feel like he fully understands what's going on, or he doesn't really want to understand what's going on. Meghan was never in any danger, really. I feel like the whole thing was all a gigantic manipulation, and I'll get to that at the very end. So I feel like Harry thought that he had to escape to, quote unquote, save his family. But what did he escape to? So they wanted privacy and a less invasive life. And so you move to Hollywood? Does that make any sense in any realm whatsoever? Is that like you're experiencing all this immense persecution by the press, and the thing you do is hop the pond to a more intense press background? Now, granted, the American press is different because royals are not celebrities. There's a gigantic difference. And that's what Meghan never understood. Meghan wanted to be a celebrity. She thought royal was like being the ultimate celebrity. But royals are subject to a lot of people. They're subject to the public, the taxpayers, the politicians, the tourists, basically. The royal family is not just there to promote their latest project in the same way that a celebrity is. A royal is there to serve the people. They're not there to promote, they're there to serve. Now, yes, promotion is a part of that, but they're there to do the things like interacting with people, smiling, shaking hands, like we saw in the video I got earlier today. They're there to be a presence and to advocate for things that they're passionate about, but their job is not there to promote their latest project in the same way that a celebrity does. A celebrity does a tour where they promote their project, where they don't really do that much and they let most people do everything. Royals have a very particular role. And so Meghan wanted to escape that. She did not want to escape the attention the press got her or anything like that. She wanted to escape the criticism and the regulations and the restrictions that being a member of the royal family brings. And because she couldn't understand the difference between the two, that's what continues to sink them, I think, is that she focuses so much on the celebrityness of it that she doesn't really understand the broader implications of the monarchy and why her actions could not work within the system. It was going to be inevitable that Meghan would essentially fail if she was trying to make being a royal like a celebrity, because again, they're just not the same things. So when she's doing those kind of things, she damages not only herself and Harry, she damages the brand of the monarchy. And that's what we've seen happen, is that Harry and Meghan, through their actions, are eroding the foundations of the monarchy. And that's why Charles really has to take this hard line, because yes, Parliament is the organization that is the apparatus that strips the titles from Harry and Meghan. But I don't think Parliament will do anything unless the palace pushes them. That's the thing. The palace has to push them. If the palace doesn't push them, the politicians will be like, well, they're talking out of both sides of their mouths. Do we really care? No, we have bigger fish to fry. But if Charles is saying, no, I want this done, I want this done now, they're more likely to listen, and they're more likely to react. And so the next thing that we get to, which I find really fascinating, and if Harry had two brains, or at least one decently functioning brain cell, he should have figured this out. Again, Harry and Meghan, they show their hands too much. They don't play their cards right. Because the picture that they showed of Meghan sitting on Harry's lap and him kissing her is almost an exact copy of the one from her former boyfriend. Almost the pose, the position, almost everything is exactly the same. What does that tell me, or what should that tell anybody? So it should tell them that that person is replaceable, because you can just slot the next guy in and you can create the exact same circumstance, the exact same scenario, and do the exact same thing. Now, granted, people do pose and people do pose similarly, but that's not just an arm around the waist or something. No, that's a very, very particular pose. And I feel like it's one that Meghan likes, because she likes, again, the Instagram-ness of it. Because I felt like throughout those whole pictures, it screamed Instagram. Because I always thought Meghan, at her heart of hearts, is just an influencer. That's her level. She's not any deeper than that. She's an influencer. Now, granted, influencers can be deep, but Meghan is a surface fashion blogger type of influencer. She just is. This pose, what it screams to me is, because almost her expression is exactly the same. So it's like, if you were in a relationship with somebody, I would think, so you're posing the exact same way, a very specific way, with one person as you did with me. That kind of tells me that I'm a slottable, that you can slot the next guy into that position, and who would notice? Meghan wouldn't notice. And I thought this too, actually, when it came to their engagement pictures, particularly the one where they're sitting down and he's, they're leaning their heads together or whatever. I just thought, you could slap another bloke on there. Would Meghan notice? I don't think so. And again, it goes to that whole thing where I don't think Meghan is in love with Harry. I think she's in love with the idea of their love story. I think that's the thread that's still pulling them together, is this idea, this grand dynamic love story that they have, which I don't think ever really existed. Because again, you get the feeling that Meghan thinks that her and Harry's relationship is like cosmic. Because this is her quote towards the end. Go ahead and take a listen here.
When the stakes are this high, doesn't it make more sense to hear our story from us?
All right, you may notice some background noise, and that's because the fan in my room has turned on, which is so fun. I tried to figure out how to turn that off yesterday, and I could not, because I'm in a hotel room. And so I listened to that quote, and I was like, when the stakes are so high, it's like, what stakes? Your public reputation? You've damaged that. That has nothing to do with the monarchy or anything else. That's you, honey. That is your actions, your comments, everything you've done. Screams that you think that you are this pinnacle. You're Mother Teresa. You are Princess Diana. You're saving the planet. I was like, no, you're just a two-bit actress who happened to back a prince. It's like all you are. So this idea that she has this grand cosmic love story in her mind, that is what's driving them. And again, I just don't think that so personally for me, I've never had any issue with anybody of any particular race or ethnicity marrying into the royal family. I always thought it was happen. London is a multicultural place. We do have someone who was a Maori who married into the royal family. So he's a native New Zealander, and so he married into the royal family, and you could consider him a person of color. He married one of the queen's, I think, great nieces or something. And so it's not like he's necessarily high up in the line of succession, but again, I don't see where there was ever an issue. And there is a woman of color who married into the principality family of Liechtenstein. So this idea, again, that Meghan is somehow breaking these boundaries, I just don't feel like ever existed in the first place. I mean, they did in the past, but not now. So it's like, I don't think that what she's trying to convey to us really makes sense. And again, I feel like they live in this bubble where they are constantly feeding themselves these affirmations and how special and important they are. But here's the problem too, is that I feel like a huge portion of their relationship is rooted in drama. Drama. And how do we know this? Well, we see Meghan sitting and apparently crying on a $3,000 Hermes blanket. there is an Hermes here in Boston. I'm going to go and actually maybe do a video, show you guys what that blanket looks like and how much it actually is. And it's, again, this like, she's having this emotional moment on a $3,000 blanket. And it's one of those things too, where it's like, if it was a blanket from a brand that perhaps costs that much, but doesn't have the Hermes logo on it, I think people wouldn't gravitate it towards it so much. But it's this very much this nouveau riche thing. Not only does she have Hermes, she has an Hermes blanket, and I'm sure she has Birkins and everything. And so you very much see that. And then you also have this moment where Meg's crying. It looks like they're in New York or something, and I wonder it's because everybody realized you're filming clandestinely. And they're like, oh no, they ruined our plans. We can't do our reality TV show. And so again, it's just, I feel like everything about them is such drama. And I was like, I wonder, poor Harry, do you realize like your whole life now is just filled with drama that doesn't really need to be there, that it's concocted by your wife, and that you could actually live, because that is a stressful life. He could live, I think, a much simpler life with a different woman who doesn't need the drama, who doesn't need the controversy, who doesn't need the constant publicity and attention and the PR machine churning, because that's what Meghan needs. And that's stress. I don't care who you are. That is stressful. And I feel like Harry is living and experiencing that. And I think to a certain extent, he probably doesn't understand why things are so difficult for him and why things are so hard, because I'm sure everything is a struggle because she makes it a struggle. And if you're living in that chaos for a while, maybe you don't recognize it. But I'm sure if in a different relationship, he might find that life is actually a lot easier than what he is living right now. That all comes from your spouse, because some people do thrive on the drama. And I feel like Meghan Markle is one of those people. And one of the other things that concerns me, and something that goes back again to Meghan having this very grandiose vision of who she is what Netflix said about the series. So here's their description. It says, in an unprecedented and in-depth documentary series, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex shared the other side of their high-profile love story. Across 6 episodes, the series explores the clandestine days of their early courtship and the challenges that led to them feeling forced to step back from their full-time roles in the institution, with commentary from friends and family, most of whom have never spoken publicly before about what they witnessed, and historians who discuss the state of the British Commonwealth today and the royal family's relationship with the press. The series does more than illuminate one couple's love story. It paints a picture of our world and how we treat each other. From the critically acclaimed, and then it goes into the director. It says, Harry and Meghan is a never-before-seen look at one of the most discussed couples in history. Now, most discussed couple in history, most discussed couple right now, yes. But in history, I think there'll be a footnote. I really do. Yes, they create a lot of noise right now, but sometimes you know what that happens and people forget 10, 20, 50 years from now. The people who will remain powerful are those who are actually in the institution. Now, if Harry and Meghan are successful in bringing down the institution, yeah, maybe they'll get more than a footnote. But at the end of the day, the world really revolves around whoever the heir is. The spare, unless they're elevated, nobody cares anymore. So that is, I think, what Harry and Meghan will probably experience is, again, they think they're historic. And they're so historic, they need historians to explain the Commonwealth system, which, again, shows Meghan's obsession with the Commonwealth when she explained that she put all the Commonwealth flowers on her veil. And I was like, what? Why are you doing that? That doesn't even make any sense. The only person in the royal family who had the Commonwealth flowers on their dress was the Queen at her coronation. Meghan's thought, I think this goes back to Meghan thought she'd be Queen of the Commonwealth and she could travel basically on the taxpayers' dime to countries all over the world and have free vacations and get all these accolades from local people and stuff. I think that was what Meghan was thinking her be like. But again, she has to have historians explain things to us. And then family members. So Doria, I'm not sure how you pronounce her name. Her mom, I'm sure, will speak. The question is, will anybody from Harry's family speak? That'll be huge. And especially, I think the most likely candidate would be Eugenie. But here's the thing too that we usually should have kept in mind is that your words can be twisted. Because you've recorded it, they can manipulate the recording to making an inference that you didn't actually make. And because Eugenie has no control over it, does she know what they're gonna say? I don't know. Again, Eugenie could have nothing to do with it. But the fact that she was the one who went to Los Angeles, they may have spent some time and asked her to contribute. And Eugenie, depending on what she says and depending on how they edit it, Eugenie may find herself really on the outskirts of the royal family after that. Because again, it's this thing of loyalty, because you want to protect not only the institution, but your other family members. And Harry and Meghan, they're not interested in that in the slightest. And so they'll throw anybody under the bus that they think they need to in order to survive. That's what they'll do. And this is what this series, I think, will show, is that Harry and Meghan are willing to do anything to just drag people through the mud. And that's what this whole show will be about. Hi guys, so editing Brittany here. So as I was going through this, I realized I forgot to mention this, is that I think the timing of this is very, very interesting. Obviously, it overshadows in many ways the Earthshot Prize here this week in Boston. However, here's something to consider. While I definitely think Meghan does not care that this interferes with Catherine and William's events, I think that appeals to her greatly. I don't know about the same about Harry. I know he is, I think, very jealous and vindictive and petty when it comes to William and William's status as a future king. However, we also have heard a lot of times that Harry still thinks somehow, some way that he can reconcile with his family. So why release this now? This obviously is going to cause a huge amount of controversy. And I think the thing is that once you sell your soul for money, the business that holds that can do whatever it wants. So when I look at this, I think, Harry, you signed yourself up for Netflix. This works out well for Netflix. Netflix doesn't care about your family relations anymore. Your family relations are an avenue to make money for them. So since William and Catherine, they're having this big event, they're here in the States, this is a great time to release a trailer. From a business marketing perspective, it's a perfect timing. From a family perspective, it stinks. But Harry doesn't really have a say in that anymore, if he even wanted to in the first place. He has no leg to stand on in this issue. And a huge part of that is because Harry and Meghan have sold their souls to Netflix. Netflix wants its money. Netflix wants its payout because it's paid them millions upon millions of dollars, and they don't really care what things have impacted Harry and Meghan in terms of their family. In fact, it's actually a boon for them. The more controversy, the better perhaps the reality TV series will do. Although I will say, I did look, and this is an update from what I will say later in this video, is that, their trailer, guys, is being ratioed to heck. And if you don't know what ratio is, so this is when the audience can downvote something. Currently, right now, I kid you not, the ratio quotient right now is 16,000 upvotes. So that's 16,000 thumbs up and 124,000 downvotes. Yeah, nobody's looking forward to this. And this is on Netflix official trailer. So you do have to have an actual plugin that you install on your Chrome system to actually see this ratio. And this, again, tells us they're not that popular. But Netflix has to make this pay. So they'll do whatever they can to make sure that they get the bang for their buck for Harry and Meghan. To hell with their family relations. In fact, that's a boon for them. And Harry's delusion that somehow after all this, after the memoir comes out and everything, he's going to do this, forgiveness, I'm sorry tour. Forget it. Ain't going to happen. And I think, again, he misunderstands his position here. And honestly, again, too, the monarchy has no incentive to do anything kind for him. And at the end of the day, he's the one who burned the bridges. But you know why I think there might be a quote-unquote forgiveness tour attempt by Harry and Meghan? Well, guys, it's quite simple and cynical. They need more content for Netflix. So what do? We go back to the family. We try to see if we can patch things up because, of course, that'll make everything all better. And boom, we got Harry and Meghan season 2. But lastly, and here's the thing that I think, Was this all planned from the beginning? Did Meghan always want to do a reality TV show about her time in the royal family? Why do I ask that? Well, it feels like all their pictures are very staged, that they very much wanted this public record of their courtship and everything like that. And the one that particularly gets to me is the one where Harry is in his Royal Marine uniform and Meghan looks like she's in the dress that she wore that night sans the cape. And they're like in the kitchen and she's pulling her hair up and they're having a kiss and everything. And I'm looking at that picture going, wait, that was just after Mexit, like literally 3 months. How long have you guys been working on this? How long have you been using your time in the royal family to make connections to make money? I mean, I know we've all said that from the beginning, but that picture makes it pretty clear to me that this was always the intention. Always the intention for Meghan to capitalize on the monarchy. Harry, she married you for money. She married you for clout and nothing else. I'm sorry. I don't think she really loves him. I really don't. I think she was thrilled to have a loyal lapdog who didn't question anything she said and went along with everything she wanted to do. And now we have, I think, somewhat proof that all the documenting of their courtship maybe had always been leading to this point. And perhaps if they had broken up, if Harry had come to his senses much earlier, she would have released it all without any of his input. I think that's what she would have done. But now we have at least an indication that this has been a master plan of hers from the beginning. And that's, I think, just incredibly sad to use a historic institution to try to tear it down because you want to line your own pockets. That I just think is reprehensible. And making things tougher on a woman in her 90s who recently lost her husband, when they first married were perhaps starting to go through some health issues, and then she was starting to go through some health issues. And this is what Meghan wanted. Meghan wanted millions upon millions and millions of dollars. But she doesn't have the talent. So what does she do? She finds a gullible guy to marry her. And she documents everything in the intent of either monetizing it after they're done dating it, or monetizing it now. And what we see as well is that there's a picture from their reception. So not only is she monetizing off their relationship, but will she drag other members of the family into it? Is she going to show private pictures of them that they have no idea about? I think that would be a liability for Harry and Meghan and Netflix, but I think Netflix is willing to take the risk. Because even though Harry and Meghan, again, create a ton of noise, they're not well liked. Because last I looked, so I added this plugin on my computer because apparently you can't get the downvote ratio without it. And I will give a shout out to, I believe it's Janine, one of my followers. She sent this to me and I was like, oh yeah, I should have double checked it. Their video is getting ratioed to heck. So currently right now it has 1.2 million views and the current ratio status is 68,000 downvotes to 12,000 upvotes. So yes, for every one upvote, they get 6 downvotes at least. That's really bad. And it's not as bad as some of the other ones. We've seen this a lot, this ratio epidemic basically is of people who are getting frustrated with what's Hollywood producing and then downvoting the videos. And they try to dissuade and take off the downvotes. They did this a lot with the Lord of the Rings, The Ring of Power, because there was a lot of downvoting on that. And we see this now with Harry and Meghan too. And what I want to do with you guys as well is read some of the amazing comments people have made, because some of them are pretty gosh darn good. Mitchum Common Fair. My heart is breaking for these multi-millionaire celebrities. Laura, I have a feeling this isn't going to end well. Bravo for keeping the comments section open. The distressed picture of Meghan in the chair with an Hermes blanket behind it is worth more than my salary. This isn't about protecting his family. It's about making money and trying to give his wife the fame she couldn't attract on her own. Shame on them. And then I love this one, Plop Pill. That scene where Meghan created a time portal to save the earth from invading aliens. That was awesome. Dr. Carl said, the greatest fantasy story since Lord of the Rings. Absolutely stunning and brave how she looks directly at the camera and speaks. Should have used them as dialogue writers for the Rings of Power. Another one says, I love the part when after Meghan kissed Harry on the lips, he turned into a frog and yelled out, I'm a real prince now. Now this comment section is real proof how people really feel. No censoring or taking sides in the tabloids. This is how people really feel. Thank you, Netflix, for leaving the comment section open. Real eye opener. So what does this tell me? Well, Harry and Meghan, they're not that popular. And this is a problem for Netflix as it was a problem for Spotify, because I feel like Netflix is going to run into the same thing Spotify does. The media is going to dissect the series. Nobody will watch it because all they need to do is read the media articles or the media headlines. That's all they need to do. And Meghan and Harry, they're the car crash mentality. People want to watch the wreck, but they don't turn into buyers. They don't turn into subscribers, because Harry and Meghan are divisive. And I feel like we will see this in spades in this series. And in addition, I feel like this series will be the pinnacle of Harry and Meghan's downfall. Is this series showing too much? Because the problem with Harry and Meghan is that they don't have any mystique about them. They said they wanted to tell us their truth. They told us their truth 12 times already, it feels like. We hear about their truth all the time. We heard about their truth on Oprah. We heard about their truth on Archetypes. We've heard about their truth in all these podcasts and various things that they've done. So what other truth do you have? The problem is that Meghan always wants us to believe her truth, but her truth has no truth to it. She's constantly changing it and amending it based on what she feels like the public wants at that particular moment. And so what does that mean? People think they're fake. People think they aren't telling the truth. And that's a huge problem that Meghan doesn't know how to deal with. And so I think we will continue to see this issue throughout their series, but never fear. If you don't want to watch it, I will watch it for you. And I will tell you the awfulness that is Harry and Meghan and Netflix. So guys, thank you so much for watching. Please follow me on Twitter and Instagram if you want updates about Catherine Williams' tour in Boston. I'll be doing a wrap-up video, I think, of that as well, and just my experience and everything. And I also have been doing live streams, so guys, check in for those on my community page as well. So I appreciate you guys watching. Thank you so much, and I look forward to seeing you again really, really soon. Bye!